Hello. How you doing? Great to be back. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope whatever you did found well. How you doing? Laurie, great to have you. I hope whatever you did, you had a great time for New Year's and New Year's Eve and whatnot. Orkin, the Bone Brew, how you doing? Mr. Dr. Guy, what's going on? Boy K, Happy New Year's. Great to have you. Found well. Happy New Year to you, my friend. All right. Arctic Fire, how you doing, Areeb? Thanks for popping in. All right, let's get cracking. Hey, I'm antsy because I've got an idea that I want to try out. So first off, I want to mention Grey Matter happening on the 24th of January. So coming up soon. We still got a few spots left. If you do want to hop on it, it's all about painting light, form, and value from imagination and really understanding the foundations that allow you to create things from your imagination. All right, so it's 5 weeks. We're going to sort of nail all the fundamentals, all the foundations in the way that it made sense to me, cutting all the fat, getting straight to it, and sort of really getting you to kick off 2026 with some real solid value and understanding how light works. You know, it's the foundational thing for me to do any of this sort of stuff, right? Any of this values and the understanding of what light's doing gives me the ability to create stuff however the heck I want it. 2 time zones, European and American time zones. It's not just for Europeans or Americans, but it's just the time zones, obviously. And you got 3 seats. You got the sit-in, if you just want to observe, no worries with that. The workshop, got a couple in the US left and a couple in the European time zone left on the workshop seats. I think live Zoom, workshop replays, weekly assignments, group critiques, and personal critiques. So I do a group critique in the lesson, and I will record a personal critique for you every week to get you that real solid feedback, laser focused feedback. And you get access to the Grey Matter on demand course that I'm building at the moment. It's not just the live, it's not going to be the live recordings. It's a full thing. Right, so you get access to that as well. And you got the one-on-one seat. I think there's only one available for the European time zone and a couple left on the US one. So yeah, get in quick if you do want to grab those ones. And that includes everything. The one-on-one seat, you get everything in the workshop seat, and you get 3 1 hour one-on-one sessions with me to really dial in to get the most out of your learnings throughout the workshop. So with that, let's get on to it. I want to paint and I want to draw. Let's do it. Let's change the scene. All right, so I've got an idea. I've been looking at compositions recently, and I want to see how I can make things fade and come back and fade into the background and just have a bit of fun with doing stuff, right? Iris, how you doing? Thank you. Is it beginner friendly? Fantastic question. Yes. So the assignments are staggered by difficulty. So the principles are the same, but how you execute them and practice them are staggered. So for if you're not used to thinking in the way that we're going to be thinking in the workshop, you've got some simple exercises that you can start off with. and then you can redo them with more advanced exercises as well. But no, good question. The low lighting gives it a whole different feel, man. The low lighting. What low lighting are we talking about? Chrysidian, great to have you. Thank you. The runner comes me of a pose Mike Manola would maybe draw for a runner. Yeah, but this is what I'm thinking, right? This is what I've got in my noggin. I want to see. I've also played around with this. So I've been playing around with this kind of looser rendering style, right? But it's all grounded in fundamentals, right? Value and color and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, this was maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours, just like not rendering the living shit out of it, but it's still like really nice. And I don't know, it's just got a little bit of something to it. So I want to see if I can do this kind of vibe. And the traditional has helped me connect some dots with this kind of stuff as well. But what I want to try and do is do that kind of vibe, but with everything in shadow here on the reference is going to be the background. So it just goes to nothing. It's just going to be a flat color. So we've got to be working with edges, you know, maybe even his hair, I don't know, but even in the background here. So it's going to be dark background, potentially. I don't know. I'm not going to be making any promises, but we're going to start with a dark background, I reckon. And we'll sort of build up from there. Juke, how you doing? I'll be drawing in my sketchbook while I watch the stream. Beautiful. Alberto Designer. How's it going? Happy New Year. I've tried to do that pose several times and I can't. We'll follow along and we'll see if I can do it. See if it helps you out at all. Old Christian. How are you, my man? Jeremiah, great to have you. Welcome. Okay. I'm anxious to give it a whirl. Let's go. All right. So I'm going to knock this back. We'll get a loose little, a loose tighter oxymoron, like a little bit of a cleaner idea of what we're going to be painting with him. But then I want to kind of quickly jump in and get going with it. Now, how's this audio? Is it all sounding okay? All sounding hunky dory? Because I've been doing some recording for some content recently. This last week, to be exact. This dude was on my YouTube featured live streams. Thank you, algorithm. Sounds good. Beautiful. Thank you. All right. So I'm just getting the vibe. We're going to add a bit of structure. I'm going to have his mouth open and all angry and stuff because I feel like it. I don't feel angry, but I feel like doing that. Versus the puffy face. Something there. So he's kind of like focused. That looks a bit silly. Now, we don't have to get too caught up with this. So we're going to see a lot of the underside of that mouth. And I'm just going to refine when I go to the values. Maybe we'll tackle the eyes when we go back to the or we get to the values, right? So let's see. Let's get a bit of that arm gesture going, a little bit of something clearer. You know, there's a little bit of this like, and then a little bit of this sort of shoom, boom, that kind of vibe. George or Jorge, how you doing? Just usual greeting and going to bed. See you tomorrow. Have a good night, man. All right, because I do want to find this nice little. I'm beefing him up a little bit. We're not copying the reference completely fully. You know what? Why? Things are feeling a little bit slow. I'm going to try and quit Spotify. Quit this. What else can I quit? We need that. We need that. We need that. Does that do anything? Probably not. Oh well. We will work with what we've got. Okay. So we've got this shadow coming down here. So now we're thinking a little bit about the composition. So we've got the shadow coming up here. We kind of want it to go in and around the form. Got that elbow up here. A little bit of foreshortening. Value, how you doing? Right, and then this hand is going to cross over that dark shape, which is what I liked the look of, the potential for an interesting composition, you know, picking up what I'm putting down. And then I kind of want to lose this, so this is going to be in darkness. We could invert it as well and have it light. I don't know. Let's just play. We could decide to have the leg if we want. Maybe. Or is that going to be a distraction? I don't know. Indication of the knee could be fun. Let's add the hands. Palm, pinky kind of curves in a lot of the time. Outer part of the hand. Got the ulna. The ulna. And then something like that we can refine at a later date and time, okay? There, we've got the delts. We got the traps. All right, I just wanted to play with some of this so we don't have to go too deep into the pencil sketch. So let's start whacking in some values, shall we? Let's have a bit of fun. I'm working on an illustration to name my Sona and rename my handle as the concept. I've been trying to decide for months and I'm so stuck. I'm sorry, Value. My brain just skipped out on that sentence. I'm working on an illustration to name my Sona, name your Sona and rename my handle. as the concept. Are you saying your persona and rename your handle? As in like the Balouh? Balouh? Who? Sorry, it's definitely more of a me thing than a you thing. All right, so I'm going to start. Let's just go. I've kind of gotten used to the idea that in digital painting there is going to be an ugly stage, and I'm not so nervous about it now, just to be worked through. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes there's not, but oftentimes there is. So let's see. Let's get a larger brush. Fuck, it's so bloody like laggy. Why? Why doesn't this shit just work, you know? 2026 people. Alright, so that's going to probably be in shadow. Maybe this side of his face. Going to be in shadow. This nose, the shadow of the nose. Maybe. We can play with this. I might even just for speed. Start carving in some stuff here. So we've got this big mass. Let's just... Could have even started off with the dark and then started to carve into it, but that's all right. We're here now. Like I'm drawing a character who would serve as persona online. Ah, okay, I get you. Yeah, that would be tricky. All right, let's see. It's going to look kind of weird to begin with. That's for sure. So you can see he's kind of like the kind of vibe I'd like. He's coming out of nothing. You know, so this is going to be very like, we've got to be mindful of our edges. Why is it so bloody laggy? I don't know. Finishing up some writing before I grab my sketchbook and join you for the evening bed. Nice one. My birthday's on Wednesday and I'm working on my birthday post, the Bone Brew. Happy birthday, my friend. She's still like otherworldly kind of creature though. She's got long fey ears. Very cool. I mean, that's pretty close to fey. Nope, sorry, you guys are talking to each other. Coming out of the dark into a spotlight. Maybe. Potentially. I really just want to play with the edges. So I've been influenced big time by a lot of like oil painting stuff. as of late. Are we diving into Mignola territory tonight? Maybe? I'd have to be looking at some reference to see if this is something that he does a lot. This sort of like lost in the shadows. Cable Spacer. I'm a newer artist and I'm struggling with putting too much time into a piece, but that is the only way I draw something that's like half decent. If you have any advice, I appreciate it. I would, if you want to draw stuff faster, one good way to do it is decrease the scope. So instead of drawing a whole scene or a whole character, draw something smaller in scale and in subject matter, which can be a fun little exercise that I'll do often. Mignola would be even more angular. Yeah, we're gonna push and pull it though, so we might get there. So I kind of want to play just with, even at this stage, just getting some of the edges, figuring out what the hard edge and the soft edges are going to be. This is a soft, big old softy right here. Now, underneath, I don't want this guy to be super, super, super light necessarily. I want to give us enough room. Now, what I mean by room is like value room to show some of those highlights. Let's also add in this little indication of the background past here. Maybe here, maybe there. Oh my God, look at that, terrible. Just an indication, so we've got something over here for the hand. All right, this is more of an exercise. I'm not looking for like a full on composition sort of deal, but if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Thank you, Iris. Speaking of sculpting, I've been doing a little bit more of that myself in the old blender. All right, so we almost want it somewhere around there, maybe even darker. We can still tell the difference between the lights and the darks, all right? Because we've made this decision that, let's say, this is our darkest dark. And it's all in relation. It's all relative. It's not like I'm picking, this is like a value number 7 and this is a value number. No, that's not how I typically like to think about stuff. Everything is in relation to one another. That's how you can get like high key and low key images with value compression. Mignola. That looks so cool already. Appreciate you, Juju. After not being able to join the streams for a bit, I missed them. Ah, glad to have you back. Also been playing with this little study yesterday as well, based off of this reference. I wanted to see if I could sort of change it a little bit, add a little bit of a story maybe. And then she's just like, ugh, sick of this shit. So I want to do more of that kind of stuff. A little bit of story, a little bit of something in there. Instead of just a pretty picture. Although pretty pictures are good fun to do. What on earth is, I swear... I wonder if I whack this in here, whack this all on the one thing, so then I only have that open. Let's also close this for now because we've got our reference on the page, which is fine. Maybe that's in. Oh, hello. We've got some speed now. Ooh la la. Yeah, it's just Firefox. Just Firefox hogging all the stuff. Yeah, the Leapfrog one is sick. When was that one done? I was little yesterday. Yesterday special. Let's simplify, simplify, simplify. Do we take into account the hair in the thing? Maybe, maybe not. Could be cool, could be not cool. Undecided. I really like seeing you carve and sculpt in 2D with these sharp edges, especially helps because I really struggle with lineless art. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, it's good fun to play with both, you know. Like I see, I've said this a few times. I tend to see a lot clearer in form than in line. Line doesn't come as naturally to me as form. I've practiced so I can do it. But it's like here I can start to see the forms quite a lot easier than if I'd just done line. But they're about the same now in like in skill development. But it's like, you just, you know what I mean? Like some things just feel more natural than others. Yeah, I should really like, I would like to push this a little bit more. Let's simplify the mouth here just for the time being, if that's okay with you. See if we can push it. He looks a bit like Freddie Mercury. Oh, I like it. I like it. Might even do bald head for the moment. I don't know. But yeah, this is fun just to start carving. Cool Caleb 22. Is your mindset with value relativity the same throughout all of your pieces? Like, how do you know what should be the darkest dark when you're reusing reference but not copying one to one? Hope that makes sense. Yeah, I've kind of made that decision here. That at least at this point in time, it can always change. Like nothing's set in stone. If I need to change it, I'll change it. But it's like this right here is my darkest dark. So everything's sort of keyed off of that, if that makes sense. But that's not the only way that I think about sort of like value relationships. Sometimes I work the other way. Sometimes I think about the light. Like this is more how do I explain this? This is more like compositionally, like starting more compositionally, right? We've got our darkest darks. We've got like blocks of shapes. It's very graphic, but sometimes I'll just start somewhere sometimes. And I'll be like, all right, let's put in the ambient shadow of something, let's say. And then I'll start there and I'll see where it takes me, and then I will adjust as I go, if that makes sense. So it's looking pretty bland at the moment, if I'm honest. Not super interesting. This is where we can cut back in and start to like add a bit of character. Maybe we do eyes like this to begin with. Just to get the direction maybe. I don't know. No worries, cool Caleb. Thanks for asking. Thanks for being here. Alright, now I'm thinking about the form of the head. Maybe he's going to have a little bit more of a nose up here. So now I'm really like sculpting versus doing a drawing, you know? So now I can have this feeling more stylized because I kind of saw this kind of shape just come out of the clay. So then we got to ask ourselves, all right, what direction is that light? We've got so many clues here. We've got the cast shadow, and then we're going to, at some point, have to go off on our own. We're going to have to spread our wings and fly because we're making all of this up from scratch pretty much. So super. How you doing, my friend? Got to figure out that that blender session at some point. Noid.com. Happy New Year. Super. I'm doing well. Doing well. So that's the decision to make, right? Do we have the hair as a part of this thing or not? There's some real nice opportunities for some speculars, some nice little highlights. All right, we can block them in to start with, just to see where they're going to be. They look kind of shit at the moment, but just to give us an idea. I had a lovely New Year, Super. The new handle challenge? No, not at all. Not at all. I say good on you. Change it up a little bit, you know. We may even whip a bit of color on this fella. Not making any promises. We'll see how we go. Can maybe start to see some patterns and some opportunities to design some of these shapes, like this shadow connecting with the deltoid here. Does that look cool? I don't know yet. We'll try it and I'll get back to you. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Have you thought about what you might want to improve when it comes to 3D stuff in Blender? Yeah, a bit more efficiency. Like process-wise, even a bit of the, like, how can I go from sculpt to even texture painting within a reasonable amount of time? I don't need it to be like production ready, but it's just like, that'd be nice to just get into the flow of being able to throw stuff together and almost do like more sketches, you know, like some more sculpt sketches and then paint them, and then maybe even do them like texture paint them, and then even do some studies of them in different lighting scenarios. I reckon that'd be fun. Yeah, the pipeline holds a lot of artists back. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? It's fucking tricky sometimes. Because sometimes I don't want to have to retopologize anything. But then I also think that, like, is the vector painting good enough quality? And where does that even go? Like, I know it's an asset, it's a something asset. It's like a color asset. It's just like getting used to a lot of where things are being kept in Blender. Because I'm like, all right, I've painted all this stuff. Where the hell has it gone? Like, I've done it all, but it's all just fragmented, you know? You know what I'm talking about. Super. I don't know if anyone else does, but yeah, I really want to use it in my pipeline. Oh yeah, color attribute, that's it. I also want to get familiar. I still haven't found a very efficient way of making some really nice planes on objects when I'm sculpting. That could be a brush thing. I almost guarantee it's a skill issue. Because the flattened brush, it's all right. But I feel like there's got to be a better way to just put some really nice planar things, almost like teetering on the edge of like hard surface stuff. I want to like do like a bit of both of those kinds of things. Because I've been working on digitizing Plain Jane. So I'm in the middle of doing that. And even just to get it to this point is a pain in the dick. Just to get this like not like just getting that feeling good. And then I reckon to get it like really, really nice, I would have to retopologize it properly. But doing stuff like yeah, I'm getting in the flow of doing stuff like this fairly quickly. Like that the chest and arms didn't take very long at all. But then it's like taking that further and making it usable even could be quite fun, you know? I like using the scrape brush in combination with like a sharpen or a crease brush. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Chrysidian, yeah, for planes, you sometimes need to tweak some settings, but I really like the scrape brush for planes. I've got to use more of the scrape brush than I reckon. Prashan, how you doing? Feels more reliable than flattening. It's more like actually cutting off material slowly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Scrape, multiplane, and crease are great for edge sharpness too. I like it. Thank you, Super. Thank you, Prashan. Yeah, I haven't used the scrape multiplane much. That could be a good solution. Yeah. I'll give that a whirl. Thank you, Noid.com. All right, let's start carving a little bit. Got his little fingers here. These ones are apart a little bit. Now, one thing I've noticed with the pinky, it always kind of like tilts in a little bit. Like it's a little bit inwards at different angles. Like if you kind of goes in naturally. Jeez, I'm a bit shaky. Fuck, I have a bit too much coffee. That's why Photoshop has smoothing. Because I reckon my game plan for the sculpting stuff is to do a project. It's either going to be digitizing plain Jane, so then I can play around with 3D printing, and even testing out different like real world like painting ideas on the actual model, you know, doing that for that kind of workflow, or doing like a stylized écorché as like a project to really get into it, you know. I reckon project-based stuff is good because it just, especially with stuff like this, like with Blender that has so many opportunities to do so much stuff, it just like removes scope creep and it just keeps you focused. At least that's the theory. I don't know if that's the right way to go about it, but we'll see. Yeah, Anne's looking a bit shit at the moment. That's all right. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it. We can do it. Not going to get caught up in any one little area. Okay. How's work been going, Prashan? Gamer, how you doing? Welcome back. All right, how are we looking from afar? Yeah, this makes no sense. Get rid of that. I actually quite like how that just drifts off into nothingness. Do we put an indication maybe of fingers in the back? I don't know. This is where we could play around a little bit with like reflected light to make some stuff come back. You know, maybe even like something like that. Or if we just go full on like, nah, everything in this area is nothing. Ah, glad to hear it, Prashant. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's what I saw when I saw this reference. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I've also started to sketch a little bit with the lasso tool as well. Instead of swapping back and forth between the brush and everything, I'll just get like a darker value if I can grab one, and then I can just come in and start adding a little bit of something, you know. For speed and efficiency. Have you ever seen the Animatrix? No. I have not. I'm very uncultured with a lot of stuff. They have one short about a runner that's crazy stylized. It's really good. I'll have to check it out. He's looking determined. and a little bit at the moment. So let's move this eye over a smidge. Flip him. That's the best way to see, or one of the good ways to see how your eye placement is going. If you flip it, so now maybe because he's like here, this nostril is going to be up a little bit, so we got to take that into account. Go. That's going to be catching light, maybe. I've been learning a lot more as I've been putting this course together as well about light. I like getting nerdy with it, so I go a little bit more into like a little bit deeper than probably most of my students would need to. But like the idea of, it's just like doing these shadows have sort of brought it up just in my mind. But the idea of like the perceived size of the light versus the actual size of the light is something that I don't hear too many people talk about. Because you have the typical understanding of softbox, big light, ambient, tiny light, point light, hard shadows. But there was a gap in my thinking with that, where it's like, well, isn't the sun bloody huge? Isn't it like the biggest light source? Not the biggest, but like the biggest light source? So that kind of breaks that general rule of thumb of like large light source, soft shadows. It's more about the comparative in the scene of your vision, how small or large the light source is. I'm in the middle of trying to explain that in the course, and I can see why people don't talk about that, because you get confusing really quickly. And without examples, Irish, you know what I mean? Okay. Because it's like if you've got, yeah, and then like from the cast shadows, you do get soft shadows from the sun, 100%. But it depends more on how far the object casting the shadow is from the surface the shadow is casting. 1,000,000%. That doesn't go away. But how far away also the object is. Geez, we're getting technical here. Hold on. Hold the phone. All right. We got like a cube. The size, let's say it's about here. The sharpness of the shadows when it's closer here are going to be softer. Say this doesn't move, right? The sharpness of the shadows are going to be softer when it's this close in comparison to when it's back here. Even though this doesn't change. Like this light source size doesn't change. And it goes back here. It's going to be sharper. That's what, like, that's what I mean, you know? 3D is good practice for this stuff. 1,000,000%. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing it all in Blender and like testing out my assumptions and if it even makes sense at all, blah, 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 blah. It's like the ground is a focal plane. Yeah. It's just trying to like explain. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? There's like another variable there that you can play with where the light itself, I think it's just the language barrier thing as well. It's like larger light source, but it's like perceptually large in relation to what this shadow plane will see, if that makes sense. And the only reason that there is any fuzziness on the sides of the shadows is because there's volume to this light source. There's like a width and height, there's depth, and like parts of this light source are seeing parts of this shadow and blah blah blah. You know what I'm talking about, or maybe you don't. But yeah, it's once you start going down that little rabbit hole, oof, it gets fun, because it's like I start looking around the world now and I'm just like, oh, I see what's going on there. Mohan Ram, how you doing? Very interesting. Yeah, I've never. I'm not saying anyone hasn't, or that a lot of people have, but I've never heard of anyone talk about like the perceptual size of a light source in comparison to, say, like that ground plane. But maybe you don't need to know that for art. I know I'm someone that, like, if someone tells me just like a tip or a trick, and it's just like, all right, this is because of like large light source, soft shadows. There's like something that like hangs around in the back of my brain, and I'm just like, why? I'm just not going to let go of that. I can't just like let it be and just be like, okay, large light source, soft shadows. It just takes up space. I need to know why. Fine, currently inspired by your art style. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Thanks for popping in. All right, so this is more of just like a gauge to see where maybe that whole head is, but we can like lose that completely, which could be kind of fun. I don't like this face. Not a fan. Not a fan. That's all right. Good thing it's digital and we can just change it whenever we want. Haha, yeah, your mind is looking for exceptions to fully grasp the logic. Exactly. What's happening, Spencer? How you doing? The difference between display versus pen tablet. Is there any big improvement you felt? I have never tried display tablet, but I want to get one. I recommend, if you know someone or if there's a way that you can try it out, to give it a whirl. They both have pros and cons. This is good for streaming, at least for my eyes up all the time. So I can look at chat and I can look at the screen. Just the standard non-screen tablet. But yeah, I would see if there is a way for you to give it a whirl. Give me one practice to improve the line control, buddy. Depends what you mean by line control. I'm going to do you one better. I'm not going to give you some trick or tip. Get 3 or 4. That'll do. 3 or 4 artists that you enjoy their line work. Okay? Get 3 or 4 of their pieces, sit down with it, and just see if you can identify any patterns. Why, like, from one piece to another, do they put the dark lines in a certain area? You know? Why do they make decisions? That's probably going to get you further than any one particular tip or trick without me seeing your work, you know? And once you can identify what they're doing, then it's like, all right, cool, there's a clear goal for me to try and achieve, if that makes sense. When I draw in the graphic screenless tablet, it always scribbles always. I'm not sure what you mean by scribbles. You could give smoothing a shot. That might be a solution for you. Can we just lose some of the darks in here for the time being? I wouldn't mind tinting this a little bit. Multiply. Yeah, we can give him a whirl. Give him a little bit of something. I kind of want to keep it a little bit on the monochrome side. A little. Just add something. I do like how it's darkened the values ever so slightly, because if we just go straight back to black and white, you can still see the difference. So kind of average at the moment, but don't worry about it. We'll get there. Heard about the chat from you guys. Now curious about the course. Ooh. Who's you? Oh, I'm assuming Chrysidian, Prashan, and Iris have brought Spencer through. Possibly, if that's what I'm picking up what you guys are putting down. Nice one. Glad to have you guys. Now we can make some decisions here when it comes to the color. To make it a bit easier on ourselves. Cody, how you doing? Welcome. Prashant, that feels like it. Leonardo, coming in hot. Did you type that out or did you have that on? I feel like you had that copy and pasted somewhere, I'm sure. All right, add a bit of that color variation. My natural instinct is to go like fully saturated. I just want to like saturate the crap out of everything, right? But if everything's saturated, then nothing is. And nothing becomes like sort of the focal point. So I kind of got to hold back a tad. Am I going to carve out the rest of the body for the runner? No, I want to. I'm playing around with it just being lost. Just being a little bit more lost. And then the big question is, what's that big flat color going to be? You know, like, what's going to make it look okay? Isn't that the question we all have all the time? What's going to make this look okay? And he's run through some thick fog. Are you using Pinterest for inspiration? Yeah, I got this one's off Pinterest. And then we can do your typical, a little bit, maybe green, maybe a little bit more bluey for the chin area. Just as like a base. I'm going to paint all over this at some stage, you know. But I like picking up some of these color variations. Like the back of his arm here is like less saturated, you know, because it's been, maybe he hasn't tanned it as much as say like the forearms, you know, this part of the leg. If we were going to put the pant on, even up on the knee, that's going to be less than say like the knees or the shins. All right, at this point, I'm just going to merge and we're just going to paint. Just keeping in mind, so I'm going to keep everything pretty subdued to begin with. So pretty, not too crazy with the colors. Values is what I'm thinking about here. So that light source coming down, this is going to be probably, if we're thinking about a sphere, this is going to be the lightest light. That center light, they call it. So we could maybe even pick up some of this brow. So now I'm starting to think about the planes. What's facing up? Yeah, we got to figure out this. Maybe we just make it like the contrasty. Do we just do it all blue? Nah. Just need something. Why are you not uploading full form videos? Just asking. It's a time thing, and that'll be happening a lot more very soon. I've lost it. It's getting away from me. It's looking weird. And oftentimes when it's looking weird, it's a value issue. There is something not feeling right. Things are looking flat. Things aren't transitioning correctly. And the good news is we can fix that. Let's bring the eye back in, shall we? That looks too pastel. It's pissing me off. Let's get a little bit more color in here. Finally, I woke up in early morning and can view your live right on time. Beautiful, Trinity. Great to have you. Beth, how you doing? Great to have you. Now he's looking shiny. Now we might break our little rule. Just in the darkest parts in here. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. We want to have a little bit of an indication of the eye. Everything's just like really subtle at the moment, and we could come in and make some like strategic marks to get it feeling like something is within the shadows. Maybe, maybe not. It's interesting when building up the image on such relative value and detail relationships and such, you can really direct the focus in a subject way, depending on what you want to do with it. Oh, 100%, Oris. 100%. That's the fun of it, right? We're not. I've almost disregarded the reference altogether. This is all relative, depending on what we've already got down here. And then how contrasty is where that focus is going to be. That's one way to do it. Also more colorful, more saturated, etc., etc. It looks a little bit cliche with the like super green chin or bluey cool chin. Let's say. This is definitely more of an experiment. And I don't know if I like it. And that's fine. I want to experiment with line direction as well. Following a little bit of the anatomy. While shifting the values and the hues. So we've kind of given ourselves like a little bit of a base to play with. Just with all this at the moment, now we can start to refine. Faisal Erafahehe? Butchered it. Absolutely butchered it. But how you doing? Mark, Happy New Year. Welcome. Great to have you back. One thing I'm also observing here is as the light is wrapping around the object, this object in question is the deltoid currently, it's getting more saturated. So in that center light, it's going to be a very desaturated. I appreciate it, Faisal. See how this kind of like gets a little bit more on the desaturated side in the middle? That's how we can sort of also show volume with color as well. See how it's got that kind of like a little bit of traditional vibe? Yeah, getting a bit scribbly. Getting a bit scribbly. Super. Wouldn't mind doing, yeah, the cooler. Bit of the cooler lights is an interesting combo. Again, with our values. Doesn't make any sense. But with values, ooh la la. Makes all the sense in the world. hopefully. Rambo coming in hot. How are you, my man? A little Belgian waffle. And if you guys haven't checked out Rembert's course, oof, you're missing out. Rembert, stop harassing the chat. Oh, man. So Remby and I have some plans to do some streams at some stage, which would be a good bit of fun, I reckon. So even with the scribbling, I want to be shifting the values and shifting the color. Yeah, we know, Remby. We know. You're a good dude. Yeah, the question is how we could go a little bit stylized with it if we wanted to. Kind of put in the hard edge here and give that illusion of the reflected light, maybe. I don't know. We'll try it, see how it fits, see how it feels. It is a weird color combo I've got going on here. I really don't like it, if I'm honest. But good thing we know how to change it. Yeah, Mark. No, it's good to have you. Appreciate you popping in. Yeah, this is where I'd have to have a little bit of a think. Whoa. Now, one thing with the reflected light as well. Chris, how you doing? Anything a light touches becomes a light source itself. So if there is any reflected light, whatever color, typically, not all the time, but typically whatever the color the thing is that's being lit, that light that's reflecting is going to take on some of this color. So it's going to be a little bit more saturated. Enjoy lurking, Mark. Appreciate ya. I don't even know if I like that. If I wanted to have... Now the question is, at the moment we've got some stylistic sort of form stuff happening here. is it going to be for all values? So say if I gave him hair, right? Is that going to be taken into account with this kind of vibe? Is that just going to get lost? Is it a value thing? Is it a form thing? These are the hard-hitting questions, people, that I don't have answers to right now. Whoop. I thought that anything the lights... that too. That as well, Prashant. How's the courses been going, Prashant and Iris? Been getting some good feedback? It does, doesn't it, Super? It's going well, I think. I have light courses starting this week. Beautiful. See how I'm shifting values and temperature as well, even with the scribbly bits? Live courses, get you. Classes. No, I get what you're saying now. So is this your first... have you done this before, Prashant? The live classes? Well, I've had mentors before, so it'll be very similar to that. Yeah, nice one. Basically providing feedback and direction on their models. Beautiful, nice one. Iris, I'm seeing much more interest in the self-taught courses and the live feedback. But makes sense. I'm happy with how many people are signing up overall, plus surprisingly positive feedback. Fantastic. That's so good to hear. Congrats, guys. What's something you enjoy hearing about your education materials in particular, like beyond just helping in general? Um, it's always cool to hear specifics, like when something sort of finally clicked for them. And it, yeah, instead of like a general, oh, and it helped a lot, it's like, no, it finally made me be able to X. Like I could start playing around with stylization, or it sort of helped me get out of the funk of just always using reference like that like the very specific stuff is cool, because it's kind of what it's most of my educational stuff is designed for. It's designed for like a specific problem to be solved, if that makes sense. But yeah, super. I love it. It's great. Like I've been having a blast, like really going through and trying to nail the course content on the course I've been working on at the moment, and really like trying to be as objective as possible, because there's kind of like a certain, you probably experience this as well, Iris and Prashan, like there's a certain layer that you can go to in explanation, but there's oftentimes there's like the top layer, and then there's probably like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels deep, and then as you go deeper into the explanation, so it depends, but sometimes though that explanation, like the fourth level deep, is connected to this other thing that's to do with another idea, that it's like the second level deep of explanation. So it's like I love the puzzle of like clarity and trying to figure out how to make things clear and like sort of connect dots and that kind of stuff. I know it's a lot of fun. So from a color perspective here, a good little practice is to see if you can see, if you could like put a name to a color, or even in context of colors around it. So it's not even like a name to a color per se, but I'm seeing oranges and reds here, and then it's starting to get cooler towards this area, and then I'm seeing like yellows in comparison to this down here. So it's like orange, reddy, and then there's some almost like pushing into the yellows, but then we're coming up to like the really subtle, cool pinks. Because why that's happening is because you got the light, the blue light of the sky, which is going to cool a lot of stuff down. So we can then use that as a cue. We don't have to do it verbatim. But then we can come through and start saying, all right, let's add some more orange up in here. Maybe even a little bit of yellow. Still want to keep the values in check though, so we don't want to blow them out too much. Now I've also got to keep some things in context because I've bumped the values a tad here. We want to sort of make sure we're keeping some sort of consistency on the head here. I'm almost thinking about this as just like a sphere in a way, like an oblong sort of sphere, because if we're following our logic, then this at some point is going to carve off into the Terminator. Which might warrant a little bit of a saturated, more saturated color going off into that. That shadow that we've decided, right? Now we've got a base to work off of color-wise. We can start building this side of the arm up a little bit. And see how that fits. We could even keep it pretty loosey-goosey rendering wise, like all the way back here. We can just, yeah, if I'm honest, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just experimenting, seeing what looks cool. Really don't like the face though. That's something I would change. So as this rolls into our Terminator, we can add a little bit of this more saturated color. So there's also going to be this hard shadow. Check our values. See, values are everything. If everything's feeling okay with the black and white, you can almost guarantee that your colors are going to be okay, at least. So we can transition that. So we're working both with edges. Right, so here, if we were to do this as a hard edge, it would kind of break that whole illusion. Because we're kind of doing it a little bit as like a soft edge, because it's a form shadow, it reads a little bit better. Fat Cappy, how you doing? Great to have you. Oh, good question, Iris. Nah, it looks a little bit too psychedelic. Now with the specular highlights, there's a balance that's got to be had. Super subtle with the sharpness of the specular. Because we don't want him to look like glass, right? We don't want him to just be like bing, bing. I mean, you could. Nothing wrong with that. But if we want to be a little bit more nuanced, you gotta like have some of that diffuse sort of reflection. Well, not even diffuse reflection, but just like the sharpness of that specular highlight is going to be a little bit fuzzier. I think I've found another bizarre YouTube banned phrase. Go for it. See if you could like sneak it in somehow. We need to play the game like guess the word without saying any of the, without using the word. What is this censorship bullshit? Well oiled. There you go, YouTube. Actually, no, I don't want to piss them off. I'm just saying that's kind of ridiculous. Well oiled machine. Were you talking about someone being, this guy being well oiled for the photo shoot, which makes his specular highlights more crisp? It's education. Grow up, YouTube. I had a mentee before who weren't super familiar with the 3D technical fundamentals, and they said they finally understood why a certain thing in Blender is built that way and how to problem solve. Beautiful. Self-sufficiency is the goal, right? Oh, Mark, there you go. My apologies. Thank you for letting me know. I keep toying with having the eye in here and not. I think it looks not good because nothing else is shown in the shadows. We could give a little, like, it's kind of cheating, but maybe an indication of the lid popping out there, maybe. Who knows? I don't. I can't imagine what it's like being a cooking YouTuber not being able to say that. Always make sure the color wheel is well oiled so that it doesn't squeak when you color pick. How come Iris got it through? What are we doing here, YouTube? Seriously. Super, maybe you've been flagged. What have you been doing in other people's chats? They're just like, nah, we can't even give him any inkling of anything that could be misconstrued. Aw. Got him. Nice. Got him through. Super. Yeah, there's too much same in the color variation here. We need a... I will actually need a bounce momentarily. But he's just bloody Giga Chat, isn't he? Damn. Let's play with the proportions. Maybe we can do the Mr. Incredible-esque nose that just goes straight down. That looks silly as well. I think I've pushed the stylization enough, if I'm honest. If we're all being honest here, or amongst friends. No, I'd have to just redraw it, I reckon. What if I just did... knocked it back and then... Now, do we want him to have hair or not? That's the other question. He's a fancy man. With his tiny little glasses, and he's running. See, I've got a full-on beard now. And this is how I just iterate. If I didn't like what I did, we shall just try different stuff. You've been at it for 2 hours. Remember to stretch. Mark, you're always looking out. I appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, I'm about to head off in a sec. cool thing with having a beard is we have an opportunity to do some cool stuff with like the edge of the light, like having some of the tufts of hair show right on that edge. That's a nice little trick. As the sort of the light curves around. Yeah, the head looks a little better now. I don't know. A bit more form, a bit chunkier, potentially. Thanks, gamer. Yeah, something a little bit different. The color palette's a little bit different. It's not as poppy yet. But we could even, this is a point where we could start having to play around with like adding a little bit. Maybe I want it to be a little bit more sunburnt, let's say. Like on the shoulders and the arms. Well, maybe not. We can just knock it back if it's too much for us, you know? So that's where it was. Very subdued. That's where we had it. Somewhere in between could be nice. Yeah, balalalalulu. Yeah, no. This is very much an experiment. Just playing with what I know about light and value and just using a bit of reference to have some fun, you know? Got to experiment sometimes. Oh yeah, doesn't, yeah. Amina 45. No, you're right. It doesn't have to be, like, dark doesn't have to mean black. Light doesn't have to mean white. Yeah, I really don't like the fact. We'll keep him there. Maybe we will colorize him. Then we can maybe, just as a final little thing, so I feel okay about leaving. And while I do this, I'll mention that I do have a workshop coming up January the 25th. Grey Matter Live, all about understanding light and value and manipulating it from imagination. How to be self-sufficient in your problem-solving skills when it comes to form. You can get there from the link in the description. You know what to do. Now, because we've gone and changed the topology of our character, because we've now got a mustache, got to make sure that that cast shadow is following it correctly. Got to change the name again. So it's all about iteration. This feels a lot nicer, and I quite like the red lines as well. So we could even incorporate some of that in the shadows a little bit. It adds something. We might not want them all like everywhere. Maybe just a hint. Why is Grandpa running? That's for me to know and you to figure out. Santa's getting in shape. Dead Periwinkle, how you doing? Great to have you back. Is this one layer? Yes. Oh, more or less. Actually, no. This is the main layer. This is just like a couple of things that I'll throw on top to have an idea. And then now it is one layer. I'm essentially using it like one layer. Once I come through and start painting like this. Yeah, just this one, bit of an experiment. I did it with this guy that I showed earlier on in the stream. Shadow Dude. It's a little more sketchy, right? Got a little bit more motion to it, flowy. And it doesn't take as long as doing fully rendered out stuff. That's something that I want to try and avoid this year, is doing like super tight rendering things. Just a personal challenge, because I tend to want to go down that route. Oh, sorry. Chat is hiding the layers. I know what you mean now. There are the layers. It is currently one. Now, does this beard change the cast shadow? Certainly does. So it's going to pop out here a little bit more potentially. Of course you can. It is an XP Pen Pro 15 something something. It's an oldie, but I've had it for quite a while. And it's a pen tablet. I do have a pen display, but currently I'm using the pen tablet. I'm all for. Oh, sorry, Robert Lucas. I like. I'm from Brazil. I'm very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for popping in. I'm all for people avoiding tight renders. Loose paintings are so appealing. I agree. There is a time and place for tight renders, especially for learning. But I think I'm going to try and avoid that as best I can. Even for just like output and what I'm actually learning myself. What do you think is the most comfortable thing to use since you have the pen tablet and pen display? What are the pros and cons? Pros and cons, posture for the pen tablet. I'm just looking straight up. It's quicker because the one I've got, this thing, I can hide behind. It's a 32 Cintiq Pro. It is large, but it is nice to have it in front of you sometimes. So it's, yeah, it's you would have to try out both, I reckon, before you make any decisions. I did say 32. Wait, hold on. No, it is a 30. Yeah, you could be double double guess the size of. Yeah, no, it's a big boy. Wait, no, hot. No, it is. Yeah. Well, since you don't use it often, I use it often. It's just for like streams. Sometimes it's easier to just get the tablet out and go, particularly if I've been moving stuff around. Yeah, don't get it wrong. The 32 is very, very nice. But they also, I mean, for most of my drawing career, I guess you could say, I've used a pen tablet. It was only last year that I picked up a like a Cintiq, you know. All right, I think what I see here, I've got to get going actually. Damn it. What I'm seeing here is this value would benefit from being a little darker as it's sort of curving downwards, you know. Art by Kaushik. How you doing? That kind of broke the illusion of form right there. So let's see if we can get that back. All right. I reckon, Carrots, how you doing? I reckon we'll call it a day. Fun little experiment. Something a little different than what we usually do. But fun nonetheless. Less rendered, more scribbly. Got the head in a place where I'm more happy with it, I guess. We could have pushed the gesture a lot more, I'm sure. But yeah. Good bit of fun. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Iris. Baba Lalulu. Carrots. Amin 45. Mark. Have a great day. Prashant. Everybody in chat, you're absolute legends. Everybody that's not in chat, you're lurkers. I appreciate you just as much. I'm a lurker as well. And yeah, check out the workshops happening 24th of Jan. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to get nerdy with some light and value with you. And yeah, all my other links, you know where to get them. And this stream, for those that are new, happens every week. Every week, Monday, 10:45 a.m. Australian Central Standard Time, which I think is around 4 p.m. PST the previous day on Sunday. Time travel, right? Thank you, Gamer. Leaks, appreciate you. All right, with that, I'm going to get something to eat. All right, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye for now.